Controller. And these are 40 tips to get better on it. I'd like to thank Milamba for being a positive member of the JKC community and remind you to like the video because this video took a lot of effort. With that being said, let's get into tip number 1. You have to be on controller. But you knew that already. One of the most famous controller made moves is the day cone, and this is how you do it. Having two walls in front of you, if you bring your crosshair slightly above the wall, you can place cones around the other side. This works from the diagonal as well, and that means if the opponent is the other side of this wall, they're gonna get coned by you. You know you can learn from Day because this man's literally one of the best controller players to ever walk the game. If your controller's connected to a PC and you're tabbed out in between matches, before the next game, always go into settings, turn aim assist on and off, which you can find right here in the controller settings. Turn it all the way to 0, apply, then turn it all the way back to 100. This is going to reset your aim assist and mean you're all ready for the next game. Also means there's no chance of having your aim assist turned off, which is always useful. A good piece of advice for controller players is to always play on linear. There's two choices for the look: input curve, linear and exponential, and linear is by far the most popular choice and has produced the best players. For number 5, we've got more of our Fortnite fact. 78% of Fortnite players are on controller, and that is pretty crazy in my opinion. 78 is a crazy number, and as a controller player, you should be free building every single day to see improvements. Controller players are known for having some of the best free building skills in the world, and to get consistent mechanics, you need to free build every single day. If you need a map to free build in, there's absolutely zero delay. I'd recommend the one on the screen right now. It is crazy. Play every day for 20 minutes and you'll see some insane improvements. No matter what level you're on, you should not be eating greasy food or any food while playing Fortnite, especially tournaments. Think about it, if you're eating greasy food, let's say sweets, and you're on the controller, then your fingers are going to be slipping and they're going to be affecting your gameplay in a negative way. Don't do it, guys. Just wipe your hands after you've eaten and before you play, or eat something that's definitely not going to get your hands greasy. Stick drift is a massive problem for Fortnite players on controller, but did you know there's an easy way to fix it? If you head on over to settings and go over to the controller mode and go all the way down to controller dead zones, you can turn these bad boys up. And trust me, when you turn them up, your stick drift is going to go away completely. If it doesn't go away, you can just keep turning them up. This is a surefire way to make sure you never ever get stick drift again. If you were lucky enough to have Save the World, you can actually equip a mode that reduces your input delay on controller. If you turn on Save the World here, right here in the game mode, you can then go into your settings, head on over to controller mapping, and where controller platform is, you can change your controller platform, bring it to generic. Press apply, and then you can head back into your proper game. As you can see, we're now in game and our builds look very different. You can see the whole new menu is enabled, and this reduces your input delays as well as making your game look far better in the process. We have reached tip number 10, and if you've reached it this far, then make sure you comment a sparkle emoji down below so I know who the real ones are. As a controller player, you need to be playing a lot of box fights. We all know that keyboard have the advantage when it comes to resetting builds fast, so you have to make sure as a controller player you're practicing those box fights a lot more than the average keyboard player might. This is going to mean that when you get into a box fight against a keyboard player, you're going to be much matched in terms of skill level and have a much better chance of winning the fight. Box fights is also some of the most well-rounded practice you can get, with a lot of resetting, aim and mechanics all wrapped into a single game mode. It's how clicks got so good after all. It's fact time! For tip 11, did you know controller players can have scroll wheel reset? That is right, scroll wheel can be applied to controller, and there are some controllers that come with a scroll wheel. I bet you didn't know that one. Most players don't and probably will never use this though. Unlike this next setting, which 90% of very good controller players have edit on release on. You can find edit on release by going to settings, going into your game settings, confirm that auto edits, and you can set edit on release on just by setting this to edit. You're going to find it hard to find a good controller player that doesn't have this setting on, to be honest. It makes everything so much faster, and it still means that you can have optimal edits. You just need to practice it. Triple edits has become a feature of Fortnite that a lot of people are practicing. If a player is above someone, they always triple edit up like this. But have you ever wondered if this is the most optimal way? That's because it's not. A much more optimal way of doing this is placing a cone and bringing walls around through the cone. As well as being more easier to get peace on the player, this also offers extra options. You can go through the front like this, or you can go through the side and piece this way instead. It's a super awesome way to get piece control, and although it isn't as flashy as a triple edit, it is surely smoother and better for piece control. Practicing piece control and building can get very boring at times, so I'd recommend popping on music when you practice some of the more boring stuff like aim trainers, because this is going to really help your drive to improve, and make sure you do it for that a little bit longer. If you're enjoying a song, then you're going to carry on playing it. Just pop some music on in the background, and I promise you your time playing will fly by. Guys, you've just pieced someone. What on earth is this edit? This edit is a common one among controller players and is the archway edit, and it's completely unprotected. If I'm standing outside here and the opponent is here, it's literally a free headshot. What are you doing? Try get a peanut butter edit to establish piece control. Peanut butter edits are best from one box away like so. That is when they're at their most effective. However, the most protected option for piece controlling is the window edit, because it reveals the least amount of space in your box. What do you think the most optimal window edit is? You have 5 seconds. That is right, the most optimal window edit is one of the side ones here. Either one of them doesn't matter though. I like this one because it has more space along the left side to ensure you have a right hand peak. It might be a boring edit, but for sure it is the most protected edit. One of the upgrades I can recommend most for controllers is Control Freaks. These come at a price of about £14 and just attach to the end of your controller like so. They increase the range of motion, meaning that you can hit more precise shots, and they're honestly one of the best investments a controller player can make. Just thought I'd let you know. In more exciting news, guys, we have 1/2 of the way through our tips. And this tip is simple. I've been releasing the best tips on Fortnite controller for a matter of months now. And there is a ton of videos on the channel, all for your improvement. So go check them out for your own benefit, and use code JKC in the Fortnite item shop if you enjoy my content. And let's get through the second half of these tips. Out of interest, do you know what editing timing is? This is the time it takes for you to press the edit and select the edit. It's incredibly important to get edit timing down so you can edit super fast. So to work on your edit timing, I'm recommending another map sheet. This is a Raiders edit course map and is super useful for edit timings. For example, that map's great for mechanics training, but so is Martel's turtle fight. It's similar to the box fights I recommended earlier. It's a perfect match of mechanics, aim, and also game sense. Sometimes the mechanics training maps aren't enough. If you feel like you've hit a skill cap, switch to claw or paddles. The difference you can achieve with these skill sets is phenomenal, and you also become a less flicky player in the process, which is super useful because your clips will look better and you'll have more awareness in fights. If you don't feel quite ready to take the jump into either paddles or claw, controller players can learn a lot from other great controller demons. Watch players like Miro and On1 or even Moneymaker to learn the controller moves that they don't want you to know. If they're doing a specific thing in a fight, it's probably good, even if they might have a better controller than you have. But again, that doesn't have to be the case. One of the best underrated controllers is the Fusion Pro 2 wired controller. I did a controller review for this particular controller on my channel, and it is super cheap, coming in at only about £60. For the £60, you get access to trigger locks, paddles, and all of the other amenities that don't come with normal Xbox controllers or normal PS4 controllers. You might be wondering, why is it wired? Because wired gives you less input delay. That is another one you need to look for when buying new controllers. They should always be wired. It's the same with keyboard and mice. We're going into serious mode now. One thing that's not going to be wired into your PC is a Zen, guys. You are not cheating. You're far too good for that. And plus, Zens are now bannable in Fortnite. You do not want to risk years of progress on an account, years of skins that you bought, just to plug in a Zen. A Zen that's going to cost you upwards of £500 anyway. Instead, for tip 28, you're going to grind with your friends in order to grind for longer. Fortnite is a game, That is right, it's a game. You should be enjoying yourself while playing Fortnite. If you enjoy your practice, you're going to be practicing for far longer. Get your friends on here and practice with them. And over time, you should be trying to build a good friend group. These are players that have a similar mindset to you, are good at the game, and they want to improve. Surround yourself with these types of people and you will soon be at the same level as some of these top players. Number 30, what do you think number 30 is? If you want to double your controller skills or double your Fortnite skills in general, use code JKC in the Fortnite item shop. It's the number one way to support me and I appreciate it greatly. Thank you. Also, channel memberships are out now. Wink wink. Number 31 might sound stupid, but this is one that I feel quite strongly about, and it is investing in a skin. No matter what skin you buy, make sure it's one you like. But you gotta believe me here guys, it can get monotonous running around with a default skin or a skin that you've had for years. So try investing in a new skin and you're going to want to play the game far more because it's going to feel fresh and different. That's what I always thought anyway. Again, more hours on the game means more improvement. 32. And it's all about your mindset. Controller players can be as good as keyboard players. It is true. You might not believe it, and that negativity might be dragging you down. Players like Miro, Moneymaker, On1, they are all some of the best controller players in the world and have dominated for years. Even if you feel like you might have hit your skill cap on controller, you don't have to switch completely straight away. You can be a hybrid player like I am at the moment. Keep your main input as controller for tournaments, but work on keyboard in your spare time, like in creative, on days where there's no tournaments. By doing this, you're going to keep a similar skill level on controller, which is already good, but you're also going to improve your keyboard gameplay up to the same point and eventually maybe surpass it. On to number 34. How many of you know what crosshair placement is? Because of joysticks, controller players have it hard with crosshair placement. They need to have some of the best in the game, and therefore I'd recommend working on your crosshair placement when you're free building. Take 5 minutes of your 20-minute free build a day that I mentioned earlier and just solely focus on crosshair placement. As an example, this is bad crosshair placement and this is good crosshair placement. We're still highlighting the same squares, but we're doing it in the smallest possible way possible. That's a lot of possibles. I am an idiot. But I also feel like I'm an idiot when my controller breaks. One of the most popular ways they break is the bumpers. The bumpers stick and they start scrolling your loadout far too fast, not placing floors, all of that pizzazz. As a short-term fix for this, you can slowly lift up the bumper just slightly at the front and the back, and you're just gonna blow into the small opening that it leaves. It's possible that some dust or some gunk has just got into the little crack and it's allowed the bumper to stop functioning properly. But this is definitely a short-term fix that you can use. Myth confirmed. A myth that is definitely not confirmed, however, is that controller players can just jump in people's boxes and take balloon battles whenever they want. Just because you're a controller doesn't mean you have to be a psychopath. Come on guys, you are not invincible. Take safe peeks. You heard it here first. You definitely didn't. You've heard it like 10,000 times, but you just don't listen. Number 37, coming into the last 4 tips right now. Some of the best practice can be split down into 2 categories for most people. 1v1ing good players and playing ranked. You should be spending even amount of times in both of these modes. A lot of players struggle with this and spend a lot of time in one mode and completely neglect the other mode, meaning they don't improve as much as they could. For example, I've been playing a lot of 1v1s against good players recently, but not as many ranked games, meaning I wasn't getting my in-game fighting practice as good as it could be. And that means for tournaments, I was slowly messing it up, especially in solos. 38 is an important one, and I don't know why I've left it so late, but if you're trying to find a good sensitivity, you should always start with the base sensitivity and move it up and down based on your preferences. Base sensitivity with the 35-35 look sense, 1.9, 1.9 build and edit sense. That is your base sensitivity, and if you want to find a brand new sensitivity, start on that one. If it feels too slow, move it up, and if it feels too fast, move it down. For number 39, always eat before a Fortnite tournament. You don't want to be focusing on your stomach and your tummy and how hungry you are while you're trying to debiki your team. Honestly, I've tried it. It's not very fun. Finally, guys, if you want to go pro, then you should watch the video on screen right now. This is tip number 40, and it's a whole new video. Lucky you. Drop a like on this one for the algorithm, folks, and I'll see you in the one on the screen.